At age 13, Jimmy Butler's mother kicked him out of the house. Butler had no parent to turn to, no place to go home, no money in his pocket. At age 13, and he stayed with his friend's house in a Houston suburb in Tomball, Texas, for as long as he could. Usually within a few weeks, he was moving to a new place. And then it wasn't until his senior year of high school where he found a place to call home. And through it all, basketball became his life. And it's how he met Jordan Leslie. The two became fast friends, with Jordan inviting Jimmy over to play video games and stay the night. Then Jimmy Butler would be allowed to stay 2 nights at a time until Michelle Lambert told Jimmy Butler he could stay for good. And then this family comes in, supports Jimmy Butler after getting kicked out of his house at age 13. And you want to know the difference between Jimmy Butler and some of these stars, and why Jimmy Butler looks like he's putting everything out there on the basketball court, because he's been through real stuff in his life and he comes out on the court, balls out, and it means everything to him. And then seeing a comment like that from Giannis, and then learning about the incredible story of Jimmy Butler, you're like, oh, I get it now. And now Jimmy Butler, 2-on-1 versus Giannis. Jason Tatum, 2-on-1 versus Giannis. So either one of those guys gets the finals, which they very well could this year. You're looking at a pretty solid debate between either of them and Giannis now.
Yeah, and I would agree. And I do know that Giannis has come from harsh beginnings as well. But Jimmy Butler, talk about a guy, and I think this is a good pivot over into Jimmy Butler. You mentioned everything about his upbringing and how he came there. Also, not being drafted or scouted by D1 teams such as, Kentucky, Duke, UNC. You get the idea. Having to really scrape by, going to a lesser college, being drafted in the late first round. It's like Jimmy Butler had to fight his way to even make an NBA roster. And here he is now. And each and every playoffs, it seems that we never take him seriously. We always sleep on the Heat. We were smart enough when we made our previews to say, maybe we shouldn't sleep on the Heat, because every year they dial it up in the playoffs. And boy, have they dialed it up in the playoffs. They went from the 25th ranked offense in the regular season to the second ranked in the playoffs to this point.
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler having one of the greatest playoff performances, not just of Jimmy Butler's career, but what I've ever seen in a playoff performance, in a series clinching game. One of the greatest shots. I mean, we talk about the Kawhi shot. We talk about the Michael Jordan shot to seal Game 6 of the 98 finals. There are some iconic moments, and I think that this Jimmy Butler shot that he made to bring this team into overtime should go down as one of the greatest moments in playoff history. And if he wins a title this year, I mean, we're talking about an all-time great right here.
Yeah, and it's like the shot with Michael Jordan. What's so iconic about it is Jordan waving off Pippen like, no, I got this. I need to make sure we seal it now. And then the iconic thing about this is there's a story behind it. Eric Spoelstra originally wanted him to get him a jumper, and then Jimmy Butler's like, no, Drew Holiday's not going to leave me. If I turn the corner on him, I'm going to be able to elevate and then tap it off the glass, which is exactly what happened. And then you have Brooke Lopez not in there at the rim, and then Jimmy Butler's able to go out there and put it home. And then you just want to touch on one more thing for the Bucks. A lot of people calling for Mike Budenholzer's job. Unfortunately, during the series, his brother died in a car crash. Mike Budenholzer was going through a lot. I could tell something wasn't right in the press conferences with Mike Budenholzer, and then that definitely makes sense. And I felt like there was a lot of blame pointed towards Budenholzer with some of the rotations, but I feel like the guy deserves a little bit of a break here. And then when you have people nonchalantly just being like, oh, well, when you have people like Nick Nurse out there, you might as well get rid of Budenholzer. I'm like, excuse me, Nick Nurse, who did nothing since Kawhi left the Raptors, and then that's the first year he won the finals, hasn't been competitive since. Every team that Mike Budenholzer has coached has been competitive, from the Hawks in the playoffs every year, getting to the second round or the conference championship, or being one of the better regular seasons teams, to leading the Milwaukee Bucks and making some adjustments in the NBA finals, with Giannis having some superhuman performances in there, but he still did it. He's still a great coach. I think this guy deserves a break.
I mean, he shouldn't be fired by any means. They'd be foolish to do that. He's earned his credit. He's a coach of the year. He's a consistently great defensive coach as well. So I don't think he deserves the hate that he's getting. But the Heat absolutely deserve where they are. And I honestly hope the Heat make it to the finals.
Yeah, that would be great. I would love to see Jimmy Butler versus Steph, but